All right, we are on the air. I
Oh
don't
yeah.
think I don't think I've been at my work desk in like 4 weeks. I like I've been working so much that like I haven't even been to like my recreational desk.
Oh wow.
Um, but yeah, hey, this is Hades. One of my top 10 games, I think, and probably my game of the decade. Um,
Oh, okay. That's
yeah,
that.
we're starting off strong. Definitely, I think one of the, if not the best, one of the best games post PS3 era. Like for PS4 and PS5 era, I don't think I've. I think this might be the best game I've played in that time period. Which, might be a take, might not be, but we'll get into
All right.
that.
I can see it both ways
But I
because
do want to quickly warn before we get too into it. Hey, spoilers. And for Carlos, unfortunately, you're gonna get some spoilers regardless. Um, but because you were basically like, "Hey, I might just stop playing because I can't win," I think this is
no,
probably the better alternative.
I wasn't gonna do that, but it was mostly. Let me explain myself to the viewers.
Well, let,
I've
let
done.
me just let me finish this warning first.
Okay.
Yeah, so spoiler warning. I have beaten the game. This is my second time playing through the game. I platinumed on PS5. I'm on the PS4 version now. Um, and I've beaten the final boss 10 times and gotten into basically Act 3. Um, yeah. Uh, Adventure at your own reckoning or will. I don't know. All right, you can go now.
Okay, so that I've done 64 runs. I've fought in Hades twice now. It's just mostly I'm really struggling with that final bit because it used to be
64, huh?
yeah, I was getting stuck at for the longest time it was like I'd get to Elysium and then I'd lose and now it's like okay I'm getting past those dudes but I'm just having so much I don't have enough health that typically when I get to that final stage I'm still struggling, but I will say like it is I don't have a lot of I don't play a lot of roguelikes, but it is a lot of fun like slowly figuring out. Also, I'm not wearing headphones. Is that going to be a problem?
I don't think so, but
Okay.
it
Because I
might
was
be.
like, I can go grab them. Actually, let me grab them just in case.
You're a little quiet. I'm trying to figure out how to put your
Give me a
audio up
second.
a little bit. Hey, chat, it's me, Nick from Wrath of Zalis. Hello. How you doing? Do you guys do people who watch on YouTube get offended when I call you guys chat? Because I don't know how to collectively refer to viewers besides viewers, which is a long word. Uh, s-
Also,
so I
Daedalus
try not to
Universe.
say that. Yeah. Oh, I gotta turn my heater off. Oh, good thing you did do that. All right, I'll be right back. We're professionals.
Someone just harass us?
All right, I'm back.
All right, can you still hear me?
Yes. So one thing I
Cool.
want to point out is, uh, you said how many runs you've done?
64, I believe, was the last one.
So I just finished my 44th run before I had to run into the shower and be a human to get ready for this recording, and I've beaten him 20 times.
Oh, wow.
so
Okay, well, fuck you too.
so there's a difference in skill level. I mean, obviously, I've played the game before. Like I played it on Switch when it first came out, like officially. I never played any of the pre-release stuff. Um, I played,
Oh, wow. Your place is like super busy.
yeah, this, I played the PS5 version to platinum, and I'm like 70% of the way through this one. So let's go into this first. So you have access to both sides of these, right? Like you can switch
Yeah,
between
yeah.
them. So I'm gonna
Wait,
go
what do
through.
you mean switch between?
Oh no. So you can. There's a little button here where you
Oh, I haven't even looked at that.
there's two different buffs for each one. The green ones are the ones you unlock after, and the red ones
Okay,
are the ones you start with.
I mean, I've done all the red ones. The red
So,
ones are fully
so the first
upgraded.
thing I'll have to say is every time you go back to the House of Hades, you should be talking to everyone,
Yeah, yeah, I do that.
especially Nyx. Nyx has so many plot-related things tied to her that it's insane. But So you unlock the ability to do this, to essentially go back and forth and like choose which of the abilities you want. So you start off with Shadow Presence, which increases backstab damage. I am not good about focusing on backstab except for bosses, so I typically don't use that. I use Fiery Presence, which makes it so you do 75% extra damage if an enemy has not been hurt yet. So basically your first hit does like extra damage.
Okay.
I use that to like basically blast them with a strong attack and usually wipe them out in one hit. Next up is Chinthonic Vitality. So this makes it so I think every time you go to a new room, it heals you by up to 3. I don't think that's as good as the other version.
What's the other version?
The other version is you get, every time you get darkness, 60% of whatever the darkness was, you heal that much. So if you get 10 darkness, you heal for 6.
Oh.
The reason this is really good is that on top of just finding darkness in the chambers, once you've beaten a boss and you haven't like cleared that run, you'll get darkness from them. So basically, you beat a boss, you get the darkness, you heal a bunch, and then you go to the next room and you heal from the fountain, usually back to full health. So it's basically like starts you at every new level at full health. So I just think it's better. I think you get more health this way than you do if you go by chamber. So
I feel like I need to like whip out my Switch and like be taking notes.
well, so also you can watch the recording later.
Yeah, this is true.
So Death Defiance, this is the version, the first version. I think the first Death Defiance, which is basically like extra life, is I think it's like 30 darkness. It's very cheap. I prefer having these 3, so basically you get 3 per run. Because usually if I'm getting fucked up, it's like only a couple times throughout a run, or like all at the final boss. So I prefer it this way. The other option is Stubborn Defiance, which makes it so instead of having like a counter, you basically can come back to life once per room. But it restores less health. And it's just 600 off the top. This can work for some people. I just don't, I'm not a huge fan of it personally. For the trophy and for one of the prophecies, you have to clear a run with each of these at least once. So like I've mixed, I've used all of them before, but I just go with the ones I prefer. Greater Reflex just gives you an extra dash. This is like invaluable in my opinion because I just like use it to just bounce around. The other version is Ruthless Reflex. It basically, if you dodge right before a hit, you get a little damage and dodge chance bonus. I am not that, I don't like pay that much attention. I basically just like dodge around constantly as I'm fighting, so I don't really go with this version. Boiling Blood, deal bonus attack and special damage to foes with your cast inside of them. I really only use casts on bosses or like thick enemies, so for me I like the added damage bonus better than the other version, which is it reduces their damage and move speed. I don't care if they hit less hard or they don't move as fast, that's just not as good to me, but it could be for some people if they play more defensively. But as you know, I am not a defensive player. I
don't think you've ever been defensive in your life.
In any game.
I mean,
I just can't do it. So Infernal Soul, it gives you just 2 extra casts, so you can cast 3 at a time. The other option is you regenerate your cast, which can work. I don't think this one's really necessarily bad. I just prefer the 3 casts because it'll just like shoot them off and then stop thinking about it. But this one's not too bad. So Deep Pockets and Thick Skin, I'm going to kind of talk about these 2 together. I think these are invaluable for most runs. Being able to start with 100 gold is crazy because it means by the final shop, you can actually like make sure you can buy like everything. And Thick Skin is crazy good, just like 50 extra health off the top, so your starting health is 100 instead of 50. It just makes you feel a lot less weak. So the other version of this is Golden Touch. It can go up to 15%. Basically what it does is after you beat the boss on each level, whatever your gold total is, you get up to 15% of that, and I find that completely fucking worthless because there's always a shop right before the boss, so chances are you just spent your money. So I find this to be like a detriment more than a help. So I never use that. This one, I play recklessly, but not this recklessly. If you're above 80% health, so I guess this would be better for a defensive person. If you're above 80% health, up to like I think 25%, you just get a flat damage bonus. But I am constantly at mid or low health, so it doesn't really help me. Family favorites, you get plus 2.5% damage for every different, or I guess plus 5% for every
Mm-hmm.
different Olympian Gods boon you have. So if you have like, I don't know, like 6, you'll get a nice fat 30% damage bonus. I just think it's pretty good because you usually get a bunch of different boons. The other version's not bad either, though. Deal bonus damage versus foes afflicted by at least 2 status curse effects. So like, if they're poisoned and they're chilled or they're weakened, basically if you have 2 different status effects, you do extra damage against them. This one isn't bad.
Mm-hmm.
I just prefer this one because it's just more stable, I guess. I don't really have to think about it as much, and it's not like run dependent. Like it doesn't matter what kind of like boons I'm using. Dark Foresight, raise your chance for Olympian, or raise your chance for Olympians, Daedalus Hammers, money, or palms. Basically, this means your chances of getting keys, gems, and darkness go down, which is good when you're like later in the game and don't really need the resources as much and would rather just beat the run. So I recommend this one a lot. This one's pretty expensive to fill up too. God's Legacy. This is the Nick Zalis power up. Basically, you get the successor to God, which is Nick Zalis, as we all know. Nothing.
No, because literally you said that, and I was thinking about the time because I just watched that episode of Rick and Morty the other night, last night, where they were like, "Oh, we found the Christian God, and we're gonna kill, him," and I was just like, "Oh God."
So this one is back and forth. God's Pride raises your chance for the boon to be epic, and it's cheaper. So that epic being like the strongest it can be, like on its own, and usually more powerful. This one raises your chance for legendaries or duos. I have this on because I'm aiming for the completion on some of those. I actually think that the God's Pride is better because it gets you basically have more strength when you do it this way. Like your attacks hit harder and all the boons have better effects. But I'm currently hunting for this stuff. And the final one is very expensive too. Fated Authority. So you get these like basically these
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
these rerolls. This one I don't think is as good. You basically can go to a chamber and like re-roll it, but it's random. I think that's not as good as this one, which you basically take the 3 boons you're offered and it just like refreshes them again. This is good if you're trying to hunt down specific ones for the prophecies, or if you just like kind of know what you're looking for or know what you want, and if they don't give you something you want, you can refresh it. With another point in that right now. And that's how I'm running. These are all these. I really, really recommend doing these fated lists, or at least like actively going for them. Anytime you're taking a boon and you see one that's like has the little list icon next to it, I recommend grabbing it immediately, because the resources they give you here are huge. Like especially earlier in the game or when you're struggling, they help you so much.
Yeah, I'm realizing that of like I gotta work on more of those simply because it helps you upgrade your weapons quicker.
Yeah, when I first played on Switch, I kind of just went with power ups that I knew I liked. But when I played on PS5, I was like, okay, well, I need to do them all for completionist's sake. So I just like actively would always choose them, and I found a lot more combos that I like actually didn't know about and I enjoyed. So I do think it's worth doing that. These are all the weapons. Carlos, do you have all the weapons unlocked?
I have all the weapons. I don't have them
All the
upgraded to
aspects.
the next form.
Yeah.
Some of them are. Most of them aren't.
I'm gonna go through this really quick. This is for you, Carlos, and it's kind of the audience. First of all, whenever I go a run, I literally just pick whatever has the darkness bonus.
Yeah,
I
I've started doing that.
I never just like pick the same weapon over and over. I literally just only go off this, like because it's just like getting the extra bonus. You can eventually get it, so you also get extra gems when you do it too. So it's like way worth it. All right, the sword. So first of all, there are a couple different aspects here. I think the aspect of Zagreus is pretty good. Aspect of Nemesis isn't bad either. So Zagreus just makes your attack and move speed faster. Nemesis makes it so after you do a special, your regular attack has a crit chance. I think Poseidon's is kind of dumb. Your special dislodges a cast from foes, but the way I run, I want it to stay in them, so I don't think that's really good. And then the final secret aspect is the aspect of Arthur. I think if you have, I think 5 different Tartarus Bloods in each weapon, the chance for the hidden aspect to be revealed comes up, and eventually Nyx will like tell you the phrase for this. Arthur's is kind of insane. You get 50 extra health, and you get a damage debuff whenever you do your special. So like when you're in this like little glyph thing, you take less damage. And the moveset is a little slower but heavier. Like all the attacks are a bit heftier. I actually haven't gotten a chance to use it this run or this playthrough because it just hasn't gone on the bonus since I got it.
It looks like you are playing a different game.
I figured, so when you were telling me some of the stuff you were playing, I was like, I figure I can probably help you out here and just tell you more. Like, it really is. The game is very deep. So the spear, I'm not a big fan of the spear. The normal one's pretty good. Special damage goes up, range and speed go up. Achilles is one I don't really mess with too much. And then the aspect of Hades is the one I go with because if you hold down your sweep, it's bigger than it is with the other ones. Like, I normally don't do this attack, but when you do it with Hades, not only is it bigger, see how Skelly has that little like icon above his head? That means they take 30% more damage. So it's worth it's like doing this as soon as a bunch of enemies start spawning, and then just like slowly taking them down. I don't really like the special with the spear though.
That move is very useful in the earlier rooms when you're
for sure.
Like for that one hit and just so you're not taking damage. But I've grown to each weapon now that I've played so many runs. Like I remember the beginning, you pretty like the shield. I was like, oh, this is my go-to. But now having even like again, your weapons look different than mine, completely different. Like my shield is purple, and I was like, oh, look at me. I've upgraded my shield. I'm so close to beating this.
Well, so I really like that all 6 of the weapons are very viable, and like the different forms of them really vary things up. So that's the spear. Also, this is the hidden aspect. It's insane because it reduces your max health by 70%, not 70%, which is worse. But I think every time you do your charge up, it does this like wave attack instead, and that can siphon health from enemies. So it's like you can heal on the go. And I think you can, as you level it up, I think it goes up to minus 50% instead of 70, so it makes it more doable. I don't like this one as much. I'm not a big fan of the spear overall. Like, I'll use it when I have to, but the aspect of Guan Yu scares the shit out of me, so I try not to use it too much. We'll go to the shield last, because I'm going to use the shield this run, and also it is my favorite weapon. So this is the bow. The normal one's pretty good, because it just increases your critical chance for the attack. I like the aspect of Chiron a lot, and I'll show you why. The aspect of Hera is not bad. Your cast, basically, when you cast, it like loads into your attack and you shoot it into someone, which is kind of cool. I forget what the mystery one is. I forget who unlocks that. I think it's related to Artemis, but I haven't gotten that much yet. So the cool thing about this version is that when you hit with your regular attack, all of your specials will lock onto that person.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So instead of so you get to do this instead of like the normal like spread that goes like that. I don't think the spread's bad.
Yeah.
But like the lock on
for
is
a
crazy. Boss fights or even just like zerging down enemies one at a time is very good. I think genuinely the glove has only come up. It's funny because in the PS5 version, I had the glove like every other goddamn run. And I think in this version, it's only come up like 2 or 3 times. Like it never comes up for me in this version.
Wait, what version are you playing?
The PS4 version. So it's random. When I say comes up, I mean
no. Why are you playing the PS4 version? The trophies are different.
Yeah, it's the same trophy list, but you can stack it. You can basically just do it again.
Okay, that's why.
Yeah. So the glove is interesting. So you have a dodge chance with the normal gloves. The Talos one is the one I like the best. I'll show that off in a second. Aspect of Demeter I haven't really messed with, but it's basically you just keep hitting, and then the special will hit multiple times after you do enough like regular attacks. So that's pretty cool. Like I said, I haven't really fucked with it that much, and I Platinum Hades like a year ago on PS5, so I really don't remember too much of the gloves. But the Talos ones are cool because your special becomes this like magnet, so you pull enemies closer to you, and the magnet like attack does damage. So even if you're using it on enemies who like can't be moved, you can still do that. But yeah, I'm a big fan of the magnet one, but I got so sick of this fucking weapon because it just kept coming up. This is my other favorite weapon, the adamant rifle. I tend to use Zagreus's because it's just the most simple. You just have more ammo. Aspect of Eris is after you stand in the special's blast, you do bonus damage. That's not bad. After you manually reload, your next shot is powered up. I don't think that's that good because I prefer like just using a bunch of like regular attacks for this. Instead of like trying to focus, like instead of powering up the attack, I usually add like poison or lightning bolts or criticals to it instead. And then this is the aspect of Lucifer, which is kind of wild. It turns into this fucking beam,
Oh wow!
which is kind of insane. I still don't like this as much as the normal one, but it is cool.
Wait,
to
what's
use.
the special look like?
Yeah, I'm gonna show it. I have to wait for Skelly to respawn. So your special lobs this bomb that like radiates damage, and eventually, I think you can attack it yourself, but it'll eventually go off on its own. I think I'm hitting Skelly instead of it. That's why. But it also just explodes after a while. So that's pretty cool. It's definitely fun, but I just like being able to just like shoot the fuck out of people and lob the big old grenade is so good.
Yeah. Especially when you get the Daedalus Hammer with the, like, when you can drop 3 of the specials.
Of all of the weapons, the Daedalus Hammer is crazy OP on the adamant rail. Every other weapon, it's like okay, well the weapon's stronger now, and there's a couple like OP ones, but like half of the things on the rail are OP. It's insane. Finally, the shield. So the normal shield, which I'm sure you've used, or maybe the Chaos one, it's Captain America. You just fucking whip the shield off. You can do a bull rush. You can go like that. Not a big fan of the original shield, if I'm being honest. The aspect of Chaos, which I think is the one you described, the bull rush one. Multiple shields sounds cool. I actually haven't messed with this one, but I think honestly you should really look into the aspect of Zeus. I'm actually gonna fully upgrade it right now, because I think this is you would really like this version because instead of throwing it like to bounce, it just does that and just keeps damaging everything in its in its range. And
you can't attack once the shield, like.
Oh, well, that's the thing. You can. You can still attack.
Okay. Oh,
it's
wow.
broken. Not only that, so you can call it back and make it like follow around you, so like you can have enemies who are like chasing you just like get hit by it while attacking. It's basically a turret, in kind of a small way. I think this is busted. Like, look at how fast I'm killing Skelly compared to the other ones. Like the damage is insane.
Especially in a room. What's that little thing doing over there? The door.
Yeah, so that happened the first time you beat Hades. I'll show that in a second. Next up, so here's all the keepsakes.
I have the vast majority of these, but I don't have that bottom row because I don't think you get that until the end.
You don't get the last two, but this one is from Sisyphus, this one is from Eurydice, and this one is from Patroclus. So there are the special people in each of the levels. The ones that like very rarely come up. Honestly, for a beginner, or even like when you're trying to do your first clear, Cerberus is really good because it gives you extra health. The coin purse is good for extra money. Like if you want to, even if you want to just like start off with this and then switch to this before the final fights. And then the other good one is the Lucky Tooth, which gives you an extra Depth Defiance. I would say those 3 are the best for like trying to get your first clear. Harpy Feather Duster, which is pretty good too, because you can just find health. But I don't really use that too much because you have to level it up to really get the best benefits. The rest of them are just kind of okay. The Pierced Butterfly, which you said you were using, is good, but it's such a specific kind of run where you have to like basically play it very, very safe to get the better bonus and then not switch off of it. I just don't really prefer it. Kind of same with the Lambient Plume, where it just makes you faster and have a better dodge chance. It's good, but it's just I don't really like dedicating an entire run to it. And then so the way to abuse these, by the way, the God ones, is if you equip this, it basically forces them to spawn. And if you equip it before the run starts, they will always be right outside. The only
Oh yeah.
exception is if a Daedalus Hammer is there. And so it's really good if you're like, if you know what works on your run. So the shield, for instance, having lightning bolts. Oh my god. Also, there's so many like things in the ground here now. Oh my god. Having lightning bolts on this is insane. So every single tick of damage creates a lightning bolt, which eviscerates. Now, I have one of the trophies I have to do is level all of these to 3 stars, and since I've already leveled up Zeus to 3 stars, I'm not going to do that. The next best thing is Ares. Having Doom trigger in each hit is also very good. Hades or Dionysus, where it triggers poison or hangover on each hit, is also very good. And so is Artemis a little bit. Like I said, there's not a lot of bad ways to spec, but the rule of thumb is, particularly for the shield, and I think shield, spear, the shield, the rail, and the bow, which rely on like multiple hits, you want to go with effects that like Doom or lightning bolts or poison that like can stack or like are really good at like just accruing damage, whereas you want to use Aphrodite. I have to look at them again. Oh, I did that by accident. You want to use like Aphrodite, Poseidon, Artemis. What's her name? Athena. You want to use like the Demeter, the ones that like increase the damage for like attacks and stuff by like a higher amount. You want to use those on like a harder hitting it weapons, because like when your weapon does like 30 damage like per tick, an 80% like special damage increase is good, but it's not going to be as good as when it does like 70 damage. You know what I mean? Like the higher the base damage, the better. The more you should go for higher bonus damage.
Okay.
Is like a good rule of thumb. It's something you kind of get a feel for. Also, these at the bottom are summons. They're kind of late game, but you basically after you increase your friendship level, you can get skellies pretty early on actually. After you just keep gifting them and finally like clear their events, they'll gift it to you and you can use them a couple times per run.
All right, begin the run. Oh wait, what the fuck is this?
Right.
I mean,
so
I feel like that.
So before that, basically, so you start off with 0, but after you have clear the run for the first time, in order to get the rewards again, like the blood, the diamond, and the ambrosia, you have to add 1 extra heat level to whatever your last clear was. So I've cleared with the shield 6 times, so I have to get at least 7 heat to get the rewards again. And there's a bunch of different these. I'm not gonna like go too crazy on these. Some of these are a lot harder than others, but they do things like enemies deal more damage, health effects restore less, prices are higher, more enemies appear, bosses get special things. I'll do this one because I think it'll be fun for you to watch. So bosses gain new technique. All foes have higher life totals. All foes, you need to do this for a trophy, the benefits package one. All armored foes, like every time they have like a layer of armor, they have extra like abilities, which is fucking annoying. Middle management, each mini boss encounter has either another armored foe or they add a mechanic, which I don't think this one's not too bad either. Underworld customs, every time you exit a level, you have to get rid of 1 boon, which sounds worse than it is. It just means you have to sell 1, so you still get money for it.
Okay.
But you're forced to do it. You can't progress until you do. Forced overtime's kind of rough. All enemies have move speed and attack speed plus 20. This isn't too bad except for the bosses. Like Hades will fucking wreck you at 20% faster speed. Heightened security, all traps and magma deal plus 400% damage. This isn't too bad, but this can really fuck you if you're like kind of careless.
Especially in that second part.
Oh yeah, Asphodel is much more dangerous with that on. Your talents in the Mirror of Night are deactivated, so they'll go from the bottom and they'll like deactivate as you go more through this. It's not too bad with just 1, but it's just like it's just not fun. Damage control is annoying. All enemies have like 1 free hit that they get protected from, so they get like a blue health bar that just like protects against 1 damage. It's not too bad when you're running things that do like multiple hits, but when you're doing like big heavy weapons that like are slow and just do a lot of damage, it can really like throw off your rhythm. Approval process is maybe the most heinous thing here. because you have less choices when you have to pick a boon, but it basically shows you all three options, but it like puts a cross through one of them, so you can see what you could have grabbed. Instead of just showing you two options, it shows you the one that you can't get, and I hate that. I hate that it shows me. And then tight deadline makes it so every area you have 9 minutes to clear. This one's I'm going to put on because it's not too bad. So as you can see, it shows like Tartarus, Asphodel, Elysium sticks that like the rewards are unlocked again, so I can get more.
Also, I love how you said you weren't gonna go through each one of them, but you went through each one
I
of them.
did go through each one instead. Yeah. So
Well, I'm interested to see how you work.
let me pause real quick because I'm on the timer. Yeah. So half an hour in, starting our first run. Shit. Maybe I should.
It's fine. Now you're gonna play.
I will. I'm also gonna do like a preface and be like, hey, if you want to get to the gameplay, skip to half an hour in.
You might also want to like cut that beginning of the video to make its own smaller video.
I thought about that too. So Ares has been a prick because I have to. This is the one I wanted, so it's perfect. Special deals too. Ares has a prophecy for killing 10,000 people. I've killed like 15,000, and I still haven't gotten like the mission. So it's annoying. You have to just keep fucking talking to him. And he's just being a real fucking dickhead about it. So as you can see, I kind of I'll basically throw that at one enemy and then go attack a different enemy. That's like my modus operandi. That's why I really like the shield a lot, because you can focus on multiple different things.
I will say, one thing I'm excited for with my new long commute is being able
on the Switch.
Yep, because like typically what I've been doing is
also Juliana. I can't believe I got this early, but Doom effects deal more damage when applied multiple times. So basically, the thing with the shield is that it keeps applying Doom, but Doom can only take effect once until it does damage. But with this, it basically keeps stacking, and the more it stacks, the more extra damage it does. So this is pretty broken right off the fucking rip. Also, when you're choosing which play to go, boons always take priority, like no matter what.
Oh yeah, I know that.
Like it's I can't think of a single. The only exception to that is Daedalus Hammers. Daedalus Hammers only appear twice per run. You can only get 2 per run.
Okay, I'm glad that you told me that.
Yeah. So they're pretty rare. You can sometimes find them in the first area, and then usually they'll be in one of the first choices in the third area. If you don't find it in the first area, it can still spawn in the second too. So it's not like I'm gonna go with that one. It's not like anything. It's over. Also, so I think palms are like the last on my list of things I pick.
The power up ones.
The power up is good the first time. Like the first power up is usually pretty good, but I don't. I just don't think it's worth it compared to like boons, money, or health. Like if it's between that and like darkness or gems or keys, then sure, I'll go with the palms. But if it's between like money and something like this is a worthless choice. Who cares? Like gems and darkness. I picked darkness because I have the work order that makes it so every time I pick up darkness, it gives me +5 health, like max health, which is pretty good. It adds up pretty quickly. Not to mention it heals you. The ones here don't really matter because the darkness is like 12, so you'll get healed for like, I don't know, 8 or 7. It's not worth it, but it's not nothing. Whereas gems, like I get gems when I beat bosses, so it's pretty worthless. You also get 20 coins when you pick up gems, but I still don't think that's good enough.
What the fuck is that shit?
So this is what is it called? Erebus Gate. You have to beat.
Well, obviously,
you have to beat it. You have to get, first of all, to activate it. It's 5 heat per area. So in the first area, you have to be on at least 5 heat to have them even to even be able to enter them. And then you have to beat them without taking damage. They usually give you an extra buff, essentially. They were kind of like chaos gates in that aspect. But you have to be kind of careful. They can have enemies. So like I'm in the first area, obviously, but they can have enemies from later areas spawn.
Can you still do the bull rush while you're
Yeah, I just don't like using the bull rush.
okay.
I prefer because it hits pretty fast, so I prefer that. Okay. So never take the shop until the final area is
Yeah, I
usually
don't.
my thing. Also, this is 2 moons instead of 1, so this is a pretty gimme.
Oh, I would have gone the other way.
No, I always go for these because you can get 2 boons. I don't pick these based on what the best boon will be when I'm choosing between the 2 of them. I pick it based on who has less of an annoying like challenge, I guess. The one who hands down has the most annoying one is Artemis, because she has that like little like love arrow that
critical?
can track you.
Yeah.
Not Artemis. I'm sorry. Aphrodite. Athena is also pretty annoying because she can make enemies deflect. I think Poseidon and Zeus can be kind of annoying because they attack a lot, and so can Artemis. I don't think Ares is too bad because you can kind of see his attacks going. And someone else isn't too bad. Demeter is probably the easiest one, which I feel bad. I'd never pick Demeter because her attack has like a huge like tell. Like you can see it starting way before it actually starts happening. So hers is the easiest one in my opinion. I lost my special. I couldn't find it because all the red on the screen. But as you can see, I don't really use my my cast too much. The only exception is if I have like a really strong one, which I do now.
I only use the cast when who's the ice
yes, the ice cast is pretty good.
Yeah.
I prefer my attack to have a bonus because the attack does a good amount on the shield. So instead of using that, I'm gonna do this. Actually, I'm gonna change this. So instead of the boon I literally just picked up, I'm gonna do the blade rifts. This blade rift's pretty good. So this thing is kind of annoying the first couple times you fight it, but it's very predictable. It likes to appear behind you after it like spawns a couple times, like right now. Whenever it appears behind you, it'll stick around slightly longer than when it like randomly appears.
I fought it a couple times.
I would say this is probably the easiest one for me to deal with of the mini bosses in the first area.
Not the one with the heads and it like makes the laser grid line.
No, that one's not bad if you have a high damage threshold, but it can kind of fuck with you. I'm gonna do Drunken Dash. I like having dashes that do damage. Always pick these and gift them every time you see them if you can, because trying to get them for late game stuff is so fucking annoying because they just never spawn.
Oh, fuck me.
What's up?
I just banged my elbow.
Oh, I'm sorry. Are you gonna be okay?
No, I'm really not. I'm about to call out sick for this new job.
Unless you're wrecked, healing can be good here. I don't really think darkness is worth it. So I usually go with the money. But if you're like hurting, healing's not bad to take from there.
I always go healing there. I'm always just like,
I might as well wrecked. It's the first area.
No, well, usually I'll have like a little damage, but I'm always just like the money. I don't really need the money now.
So that's the thing. It's like you have to think about it in a different way. This is the first area. So while you don't need the money for the next shop, the money lasts the entire run.
True.
So like.
And when you get to that final round, when everything is like.
I'm always thinking about the final round because there's just so much goddamn like it's so expensive there.
I did read a guide, as corny as that sounds. One guy was just like, the biggest thing to train yourself out of when playing is just like you're not just trying to beat the level, you're trying to beat Hades at the end, so you have to build towards that. And yeah, I gotta like remember that because most of the time I'm always just like, oh, I can just do more damage, but that's not necessarily gonna make me like more protected, or at least like because sometimes you have a build for like a room clearing, but when you get to the bosses, it's just like I'm not really doing enough damage.
I have
on one enemy.
Absolutely run into that before, especially earlier game when you don't have as many options. But I do agree with that. I think I would refine it to say, think about what works with your build. Like you should always be trying to like strengthen your build if you can. Like if you're relying on like 2 gods to like work off their stuff, like I'm relying on Ares right now, and you get like Athena or something. Try and do something that like doesn't really it doesn't go against the build, but it also like kind of only benefits. Like with Athena, I like to use her dash, the deflect dash, because it's very, very good. It gives you basically extra iframes, and it reflects enemies' attacks back at them, so you can basically just dash through them. All of the revenge stuff. Also, you can always tell when you're about to hit the final one. Also, the timer's going, so you shouldn't do this. Chamber 12 for the first area is always where special deals 50 when you catch it. You know, I don't use Bull Rush. This isn't really that helpful for me. The timer stopped for a second, so I can explain. So the shop will always appear at Chamber 12. If you use a Chaos Gate, sometimes it's 13. Like if you're about to go there. I always choose the shop, like I said. It's 12 in the first area, 22 in the second area, and 34 in the third area. Give or take. Like I said, Chaos Gates can mess with that a little bit, but it's not. I think they spawn, or they have a chance to spawn halfway through the run, 3/4 through the run, and at the end of the run for Karin shops. I really think it's bad to take them mid-run, unless you're like flushed with cash, because you miss out on potential benefits, especially, and you end up like spending more money than you probably have. All right, I'll use the Artemis's attack. Ooh, this is really good. Artemis's best ability is pressure points, because it just makes it so every single attack you do is a critical chance. I'm gonna go with that one actually, even though it's only basic. I'm not gonna buy the key. I don't need keys anymore. But yeah, I'm not worried about the time. Usually not too hard to.
Oh fuck.
Yeah, so I have extreme measures, which makes all of the bosses harder. But I don't think it's like that much harder, so I don't really mind kind of messing with them. One thing to note with bosses, especially if you have a dash that like has an ability like this, is it's very easy just to dash back and forth between them as you hit them, because your dash strike does more than your normal attack, and it just like will keep racking up those hits. So it's just something to keep in mind. This is definitely the most effective. Oh, I lost her. Whoops. This is definitely the most effective with the Hydra, because the Hydra is so fucking big that you can basically just dash back and forth between it and be pretty good. There you go. Is that how it normally goes for you?
For her, the first one I can usually like I'm fine. It's literally like once the that lava shit, because I like sometimes will think, oh, I have a little bit more of a platform before I'm in the fire. I'll be like, oh, I'm good to dash here, and then I realize, oh no. Or I'm just like whooping someone's ass and I'm not focusing on the fact of like, oh, I'm gonna do damage to myself.
Just turns into, oh no, oh no. The fucking.
Oh my god, you should be. I'm gonna report the channel.
So I still need a good bash. I'm gonna switch to the Eternal Rose. Also, I really only use the Olympians ones just to like force them to trigger. I don't recommend keeping them on for the whole run. It feels like kind of a waste. Like it doesn't like increase the chances you're gonna find them. Once they're in the pool of like possible ones you can find, they're just in there. It doesn't really. I don't think it increases the chances for them to spawn. So I'm gonna go with Aphrodite to force her to spawn up. Her attack bonus should be pretty good. She has the highest attack bonus, but weak doesn't do damage, so that's kind of the offset. Weak only just like makes them do less damage. And we got 9 more minutes. I find the timer is the hardest on the first area because you're still getting boons and stuff like that. The second area, they give you the same amount of time as all of the other ones, but there's less chambers in the second area, so you can usually get your time back. Kind of like a Zoom meeting where you're like, oh, I'm going to let you guys have the time back.
I fucking hate that shit.
I have a little story to tell about that one.
When we're offline?
No, I can tell it right now. So I'm working on a project at work with a new game, and I was talking to some of the devs because we just had a big thing, and I was like, hey, I was like, you know, you guys just, oh, perfect. Yes, it's purple. So you guys just worked really hard. Hopefully you guys have some vacation coming up. And they're like, no, we're pretty much working until launch. That's how game development works. Have you been here long? I kind of feel like my boss is like, "What are you doing?" Like, I said that because I was like, "I have a vacation coming up," but I didn't say that part. I was leading into it, but I was like, "Oh well." So I felt kind of bad because I was like bringing up vacation, like, "No, we're pretty much going in for months, thanks." And and I was like, "Well, in lieu of vacation, you guys can have this 10 minutes back." Which I thought was a good enough save that I think it's fine. I'm gonna go with side hustle. I always like having more money.
I was doing my final meeting. And
Also, when it comes between health and money, I almost always pick health.
yeah, same. But to go back to that, I was doing my final meeting with
I don't know
with
if
the old job.
You got a new job.
Yeah, I got a new job.
You don't have to tell me
Doing
it's
so-
just that you got a new job.
Yeah.
But
completely different. But so I was leaving.
you're leaving the
the-
education field and your job.
Yeah. And they were like, "Okay, Carlos, like, what are the things that like someone needs to take over?" And the meeting was like 15 minutes. And low-key was just like, are they judging me? Do they think I should have been doing more? Because I'm like, I feel they blocked off a whole hour and like a half on the
I was gonna say,
calendar.
did they schedule it for 15 minutes? Because that's insulting.
No, they like did a whole hour, and I was just like, are they finally catching on that I don't be working here. I just be here, but I don't be working here.
We had a different conversation where you were telling me that everyone kept praising you for doing so much work.
Oh yeah.
And you were
That-
you were like, I really didn't. And then I was like, what does that say about other people? How much work are they doing? Where they're like, Carlos works so hard, and you're like, no, I don't. Like
The thing is that like that what upsets me has always been I don't subscribe to the ideology of what I perceive in others of a lot of people make their jobs look more difficult than it is, because like my sister does this. She hates the fact that like I'm always just like the work gets done when the work gets done. Like I'm not gonna make it look like I'm like stressed. I'm not gonna stress out about it because it's just like it is what it is. I'm gonna do it because I do. Where she's someone who's just like, no, I'm gonna be in the office late at night, cranking it out, banging it, like doing this work, and I'm like, no, if you just managed your day better, you wouldn't have to do the fucking. Like, I feel like people are painting a picture of themselves of looking like they're doing hard work. And I'm like, how much of that time is actually you're doing the work versus, like, me who's very blatantly like, I am not working right now. I have already done the job. The job is complete. But Carlos did a good job managing it now that I'm just going to sit on my ass and, like, watch soccer during the workday. Versus other people who I feel like continually just they just work to work, you know?
I learned through retail that is a terrible way to work. Of just like, because basically you finish your work and then people are like, okay, so now you can do more work. And I'm like, wait, no. I finished the work you assigned. So you're telling me that if I like didn't do the work and just like waited, I would do less?
I don't report that work. I make all my work on Monday. I tell them on Friday.
Like that shit's so weird to me. I'm like, you don't get bonus points. And it's like, and I can tell you with 100% certainty, it's not going to get you promoted or anything like that. Like it might, if they have no other options, but that's not the shit that gets you promoted.
Now, my horror story.
I want to point this out real quick. So support fire, every time you hit with an attack or special or cast, it fires an arrow that does like 12 damage. Now, because the shield is crazy and ticks so many hits, when I do it, it'll just fire off a bunch of arrows from now on. It's very, very good with this kind of build. It's good with the arrows. It's good, like you can see it right now. When you see like the little green things coming out. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's very, very good with the shield. It's very, very good with the bow and arrow and the adamant rail. Like it's a crazy ability to add to your repertoire. Your horror story, is that what you're saying?
So like I have a good friend who I met at my first job when I was working at Fordham. She's a great person. She's like we met there. And not to say like they haven't gone far, but mostly I was just like, oh, when they got there, I saw them every day of like working really hard. And since then, I have like, obviously I left my next job and then I'm now getting more job, but I'm like, they put in so much more hours, but they weren't able to leverage it in the organization to get them paid more. And I'm always just like, if I'm doing all my work and I'm putting in like an astounding effort and I'm not getting paid more, at that point you like what you said the other day to me of like when you got like fake promoted where they just gave you more work but they didn't give you the money, so you were like, I'm not gonna put in all of that effort, and now that you have like the money, it's just like, oh, I really gotta like get my butt going.
For added color on that, I've been doing my job for over 2 years, and I only started getting paid for it a couple months ago. Like they gave me the promotion, the like official promotion, a couple months ago, and my workload did not change because I'd already been doing it for so long. Like, so I was telling Carlos where it's like, you know, why would I put that much effort in when it doesn't matter? I'll do my job obviously, and I'll do it well, but I'm not gonna like be like, all right, what else can I do for this company? I'm like, because they don't feel the same way about me, so why would I return?
Wait, what the?
So this is
Is this because of the thing you? Okay.
It changes his arena and adds more lava. So when you were telling me that you were that you always get afraid because like you might step in the lava or something, I'm like, boy, he doesn't even know. So that's why I'm always dodging too. If you've noticed,
yeah,
I play like a crack addict.
That's how I play.
Well, it's how you should
less
play.
Effective.
So with no, it is effective. Oh, you mean?
No, I mean I'm less effective.
So the reason I do it this way is that, say you like step in the lava or something, like you're only in there for a second, so you don't take like as much damage as you like could. Also, this is the part that sucks.
The one annoying thing is like when you're really like, I hate when I'm not monitoring the Hydra's fucking health, and I'm like, oh, time to hit him with the call.
Oh,
and then, like,
I learned that very early on in the Switch version when I first played. He has 3 phase. I do that with every boss. If they have a phase where they're immune, like I just do not attack during that section, like with the big guns, because it's just gonna be a waste. Oh, I'm not gonna kill him. So during that section, I killed him really fast, so you didn't get to see it. But during that section, he actually gets free. So he's around the arena and stuff like that.
Oh wait, what's that gold thing over there?
Yes, this surprises me. You don't know what this is?
Oh, is it the fish pond? No, I haven't gotten anything from fishing, but I do know that you can fish.
Wait,
I know
what do you mean you
fish
haven't
here.
gotten anything from fishing?
I keep fucking up the timing.
I can help you out after I do this. I just like mildly have to pay attention for this part. So
okay.
I don't think I've gotten that one in this playthrough. So the way it works is it has it has 4 possible bobs, and it's hard to explain. I'm trying to think of a good way to like use my words here. Do I want anyone else here? I think I might start going for the buffs. I'm gonna put because I have to level these to level to 3 stars, so I'm like, I have to use them. Let's use the Harpy Feather Duster. And also, don't be afraid to buy health if you're low on it. It's usually pretty cheap here. But yeah, so the way the fishing works is that it bobs 3 times, and then if it bobs 3 times, the 4th time will be like right after the 3rd one, so like be ready for it. But there's basically like a chance, it's like, there's a very good chance that it'll go. But knowing that it can only go up to like 4 kind of makes it easier in my opinion, because like once that 3rd bob happens, you like know that on the next one it's going all the way, so you can just like be ready to pull it. But yeah, it's basically just waiting, and the second it goes down, you just have to be patient. It's hard to explain, but you can get the rhythm of it pretty easily once you've done it a couple times. I've played a lot of fucking fishing minigames in various games. They're in so many goddamn games. I'd say that one's probably the most like probably like Animal Crossing style, or just like a couple little blips. There does get to a point where you have so many boons that you really can't even see what the fuck's happening on screen anymore. Which just, you know, you just have to do your best. Yeah, so like I said, the Daedalus Hammer, if it spawns in the first area, it will almost always spawn in the last area. Or I'm sorry, in the third area. But also, if you miss it, it can still spawn again. It's just it's not as high priority, I don't feel like. So I always try and go for it immediately. Also, if it comes to boons, like I said, you can only get a max of 3 per run, and one of those is if you take the anvil at the end and it like removes 1 and adds 2 at random, which I really don't like doing. I feel like that can fuck you so hard, especially with ones like the sword, which has the ability where to like lower your max health, but if you do a certain attack, it can heal you. If you get that by accident, it'll fuck your whole run. Like, there's a couple things that like change the mechanics of your weapons that like literally will screw your entire run over. So you have to kind of be careful. The only time I really do it is when I'll do the dash strike one. The only time I really do it is when I'm trying to fill out the prophecies and get all the abilities. Anything, Carlos? Hello? Are you there?
Oh, sorry. I'm like really tired today. But I thought I had more energy. I'll work up. My bad.
But is this helpful? Like, does this show you?
Yeah. If anything, it mostly what I'm learning is how I've only really peeled away the first layer of the onion. You know?
Yes, you were in Act 1,
yeah.
which is the quickest act for some people. And then Act 2 goes for a while, because Act 2 is where you have to basically beat Hades 10 times, and that shit can get harder and hard. And now I'm just trying to basically do all the like endgame stuff. Oh, fuck. My only problem with letting Ares do his thing here is that I have Ares' effects too. Oh, I could have gotten it right there. So there's a trophy for using a greater call of the god that you're doing a challenge for. So I have Ares' greater call, and he was just challenging me. So if I like got it all the way up to 4 bars and used it, I would have gotten the trophy. I already have it, thankfully. But that's something to look out for if you're looking for if you're trophy hunting this game. That's not for you. That's for the recording.
Yeah, you know me. Me and trophy hunting. I was actually thinking about trophy hunting Metro Exodus, but then I was just like, you know what? As much as I love that game, I don't need to do that.
So this is why I checked the chamber in the top right where it says chamber 29, because I'm like, I know it's not the final one, so I'm not gonna go to the shop yet. Because when I used to play, I only started doing that this run, or I'm sorry, this playthrough. Because I used to just be like, oh, this feels like I've been doing this for a while. This is probably the final shop, and then I'll get there and it won't be. I'm sure that's happened to you before.
Yes.
So that's why you kind of try and keep track of what chamber you're in. Or just check real quick before you go. I can a handy tip, if you're not getting familiar too, is that if the other option has like a skull over it showing that it's like a boss or like strong encounter, then the other shop is not the final shop. It'll never be a challenge one at the end, because it's always just like right before the boss, where it's just they basically give it to you for free. Kind of rocked a little bit here. The third area is hard. I think it's harder than the final area, to be honest.
Yeah, that's what actually annoys me the most is, so like you have the area before this. It's not difficult. It's mostly like navigating the surrounding area. This one, what annoys me is
the enemies are rough.
But also
the traps
map
are also rough too.
Yeah, the map tends to be a bit longer, so when you're traveling to go get someone, you typically can like just fuck yourself over because they all just come like, oh, there's like 5 dudes over there that I didn't see. I only saw one guy at the edge of my screen, and I wasn't prepared.
I would say
to fight
like the big beams are difficult. The spikes are difficult. Having to kill the enemies and their goddamn souls is annoying. The chariots are annoying. The fucking witches have more attacks. Like every enemy in this area fucking sucks. And the environment sucks. It's good because it's later in the game, so it should be. It's just kind of weird because like I feel like the fourth area is like significantly easier compared to.
I don't suppose you have some good acquaintances with whom to...
No. King Theseus is operational.
I do like the bull. I like how he's just kind of like an honorable, like, nah, we're fighting.
Yeah.
I was talking about this with Amy. With my girlfriend. so
Oh wow.
It's probably fine. I was talking about this with her. and I was like, I don't think there's any like bad characters in this game. Like I think they're all pretty well written, and like none of them are like evil. Like I think every single character, every single plot in this game, and every single like encounter is just misunderstandings. And she was telling me that's like literally the biggest criticism of Encanto, which I haven't seen, is that there's no antagonist.
No, I still haven't seen Encanto, but also it's Lin-Manuel Miranda, and I'm always just like, I could always do a little less. We watched West Side Story last week. That was really good. So if you're looking for a good musical,
I'm not, if you can believe it. I mean, I do think if someone's gonna do a remake of West Side Story, it should be him. Because I will.
It was Spielberg.
Oh, well, like, was he in it though? Right?
No, Lin-Manuel Miranda wasn't in it.
Oh, never mind then. How did they drop the ball there? How did they not have Lin-Manuel Miranda in the fucking...
Well, he was making In the Heights at the same time.
Oh, which is much better.
No, fuck that. I ain't never watching that shit. No, thank you. Every time someone tells...
Let's not talk about In the Heights for legal reasons.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Let's talk about Hamilton.
Let's talk about the Batman. No.
Let's talk about.
I think I'll be fine. It's just like I'd never want to get into a position where it's like I do something stupid and they're like, "Yeah, you did this really stupid thing, and we found this time where you said this." I'm like, "No."
That reminds me of one time I was working at Dunkin' Donuts and I told some old guy was asking me like, "Oh, what donut should I put in my like dozen donuts?" And I was just like, "Well." He was just like, "Oh, I'm going to eat with other adults." And I was like, "Oh yeah, most adults don't really like the sprinkles." And my manager takes me to the side like, "Carl, you should never disparage a donut." And I'm like, "This donut ain't got no fucking feelings." This old man gonna fight me over this counter if I give him like only like the super sugary donuts. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
You should never disparage a donut, dude. Fuck off. That's so good. There was similar stuff when I worked at GameStop. Where like sometimes people would ask the question of like I'd be trying to do the hard sells of like pre-orders and stuff like that.
Why don't you pre-order this game?
Yeah, stuff like that. And if a customer ever asked like, "Do you think that makes sense here, or do you think that would be good for me?" And if I didn't, I'd be like, "No." And my manager like would pull me aside sometimes and be like, "You can't say that." And I was like, "I just did though." And, like. I was so flippant about it. I was just like, I mean, I'm not gonna lie to a customer. Like, I'll try and hawk this shit, but I'm not gonna like if they're like asking me, like, you know, that puts me in a weird position because then I'm like, you know, they're gonna come back and be like, my family is ruined because I spent so much money on pre-orders. It's all your fault. I'm like, I don't want that shit on my conscience. Like,
also just like of when your manager takes you aside at a minimum wage job.
God, it's the greatest thing. It's so good.
It's always the dumbest shit ever, and I'm always just like, you gonna get someone to cover this shift if I just quit right now?
I thought
stop complaining.
As an adult working in retail, when I went back to GameStop, I thought about that constantly. Anytime they were like, "Hey, you really shouldn't do that," I was like, "Oh, who's gonna cover my shift?" That just ended every conversation. It's like, wow, I guess I do have the power. Crazy.
Nah, when you work in the closing shift at a fast food spot, especially like Dunkin' Donuts where no one wants to work closing because it's like you get shit tips, that's really what brought out the worst in me. Because I was just like, ain't no one closing this Friday. It's me. So I know you're not gonna fire me.
So
I like these two characters.
Theseus knows the shit out of me, but he's supposed to.
You do know you look even more ridiculous than normal wearing that mask.
Do you know what's crazy about Zagreus? He's pretty well voice acted, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know the voicing musician of the Supergiant games? It's
I
Darren
didn't know
Cord,
that.
yeah. I'm like, how can you be that talented of a musician and fucking just be a great voice actor? Like, not just like has a good voice, but like acts well, like emotes well.
I mean, I think it goes hand in hand.
I do
like,
think so too, yeah.
but also,
I gave you the advice
kind of
before
amazed.
That you should always try and take the bull out first. I've recently been trying not to do that. Theseus has less health than the bull, so it's kind of, if you have a decent enough build, it's kind of easier to take him out. This is obviously the exception because what's happening here is fucking bananas. He's on a fucking cart dropping bombs. but it does ring a little bit true of like you can kind of screw him over first.
So you got your call.
I saw. I'm unlike you. I'm not just gonna pop it as soon as it's available. I'm gonna wait and make sure I can do the most damage with it.
Oh, you a little bitch then.
I'm not. I just don't want like him to just be like, okay, and now I'm impervious, idiot. I wonder if I'll beat this though using a Depth Defiance. Oh, both of them at the same time. Perfect.
I will say I do kind of hope that they I'm surprised they haven't licensed this to like Netflix to like make a show out of it, because I'm just like the writing here is really great.
I agree.
You could really make a good show out of it. And hopefully, I mean, we don't really need a Hades 2. I just like Supergiant being more and more successful.
I have grappled with this so much where it's like, again, you don't need a Hades 2, but it's so good. Even if they don't use the Greek, like, even if they use the same characters, just the gameplay style is so fun. I'm like, please give me more. Like, I need it. What was I going to say, though? Well, that's the thing is, like, I've played a lot of roguelikes, and this is hands down the best one. And it's because they managed to tell a good story in a roguelike, which is insane. Because a lot of roguelikes will be like, okay, keep doing this thing. Like, Returnal's a good example. Where keep doing this thing, eventually you'll beat you'll beat the part that you're stuck on, and then you'll get more story after that. Like, it's kind of linear in that sense, where it's like, you may have to keep doing different runs until you get to a certain point, but eventually that's how you get the story, is that you just play well enough and eventually you get there. Whereas in this game, I feel like the failure is part of the story. Like, it's very much like all the characters react differently and do stuff the more like you experience, the more different weapons you try, different boons you try, and stuff like that. It just feels like very alive. And I don't think a single other roguelike I've ever played is like that. And I don't know.
It also feels like, if as weird as it sounds, like you're playing the montage in a movie of like, character continually fails until, okay, next act, this is what's happening.
I like, it's such a weird thing, but it's almost like, you know how in Persona, you would basically do the dungeons just to get back to like the daily life and the story. Like, the dungeons were never the highlight of Persona for me. It was just like, I was like, I'm doing the dungeon to progress the story to get like more of like the daily school life shit. It almost feels like that a little bit, where I'm doing the runs so I can go back to the house and have updated dialogue with people. Like, like I'm enjoying the runs, obviously, but it's just like a very different feeling of like, I don't know. It's so weird to describe, where it's like, even when I lose, it's not like as bad, because I'm like, well, at least there's still shit for me to do here. Yeah.
Also, the runs are over so quickly that it never, like, I look at the clock, I look up at the clock, and I'm always just like, you know what, I got like 15 more minutes. I could definitely try another run right now.
I have never, it's been a long time since I've had a game that's like evaporated time as much as Hades has. You talked about this, where you'll be playing Hades, you'll be like, I have enough for another run, and then you look down later, like 3 runs later, and you're like, oh, it's been like 4 hours. Like,
what? You saw my tweet about it, that like it was a really long time ago, but I remember I had woken up for the 7:30 a.m. City game. So the game ends around like 9 a.m. and Juliana's not up yet, so I'm just like, oh, let me just try Hades, like give it a go for like an hour or so, and then I'll like go take out the dog. I did not stop playing until like 3 o'clock, and then even then, I like took the brief walk with the dog, and I came back and I continued to play until like 7 o'clock at night. I was just like, it's just so like once you get in the flow state, you start seeing all the like, oh, I can really maximize my run here, or like
that's what I mean. It's like it's gripping, like it really is addicting. Like honestly, even when you fail, you're still like, well, shit, I want to keep going. Like,
what annoys me more, like not even annoying me, but honestly, I would love to see more and more like sports games take notes on how they tell their story here.
Oh, fuck you, game. I have 2 that I have to get, and I can't get them both. Why
don't you roll?
Ooh, let's see this one. But
also, it blows my mind that you made it here with 2 Death Defiances.
I've made it with what?
That you're like this far with this amount of health. Because usually I'm like, I got 1 life or I got no more Death Defiance, and it's just like, we're going to try to get here.
Well, can I also, one thing I wanted to tell you too is that I just ignored my own advice. But you should really, if you're playing, if you're like kind of getting beaten up, you should, before you fight the 3rd bosses, you should make sure you have at least 200 gold. Because if you're missing a Death Defiance, the purple like well of Charon has a very high chance to give you the item that like restores 1, but it costs 200 each time. I've done that a couple times where like I've been kind of beat up a little bit, but I saved some money and just like bought another Death Defiance.
Yeah, I've done that, but usually it just, again, it goes back to my belief of like, I don't need the money, and now I'm realizing like, nah, save up earlier so that way by the end I'm like, cool, let me just throw that, get re-up. Or you run into the dude in Elysium who will refresh all your shit.
that was pretty convenient. I've had runs where I get on the first try very rarely, and I got the other one anyway. Perfect. This is going on really well. I've had runs where I get it very quickly, and I've had runs where I've had to go through all 5. Well, I could keep going, but I don't.
No, just go.
There's no reason to. I'll grab some more health before I go.
Use this. Cerberus moves for no one.
I'm just saying though, like, so the big thing here is that I know how I'm playing with my best. Like, I'm best with this weapon, and I know very well how it works, and the synergies and stuff with it. So it's very different from kind of just like. It's really a situation of like the more boons you try out, the more combos you try, the more you're like, oh, if I do this with this, then this works like really well.
I wonder how Ubisoft feels about making the 2nd best game about Greek gods in the generation.
So there's a, I don't have the extreme version of Hades, thank God. I have never beaten it. To be fair, I haven't really tried it. Because you don't have to. There's no trophy for it, and there's other ways to like increase your heat. I think actually I might have beaten him once. I really don't even remember though. It's like very, very late game. So obviously I try to attack those things that like create the shockwave, but I also know like if you walk away far enough, you don't have to. This is the part that fucks with me sometimes. Is depending on who he summons. This part can get really annoying, but I usually just ignore them if I'm being honest. Because once you complete the first phase, they go away. Like if he disappears, I'll go and attack them because I've got downtime. But so I'm gonna wait until he hits his next impervious phase, which should be at 1/3 health, and then I'm gonna use my Greater Call. There it is. Also forgot I had this cast. I literally haven't used it in forever. Oh, oh fuck you. Ow. Another guy respawn. Oh, I hate this part. So the other thing is you really have to get used to his attacks and like knowing when you can dodge. Like he has that like little like circular effect. Dead. Have you gotten this far?
No, I literally got to that point, or right before I was about to get him to that point, and then he killed me, and I was just like, fuck, I'm so close to beating him.
He has a second
and
life.
now I'm happy to know that there's a second life.
I couldn't tell if you knew that or not.
I did not know that. I thought he had 1 life to live. Like
I think the second health bar is actually easier to deal with than the first one. He hits harder, so like his regular attacks are harder, but his like special attacks aren't as bad, if that makes sense. And he only goes invincible once. But yeah, you see the like white ring he makes when he's about to strike? That's really what you have to focus on. And there you go. Let's see beat Hades. Did you get all that, Carlos?
Like my dick.
No, so the real thing, again, is it's knowing what abilities work well with each other and trying to like build it off that, like knowing what works best with each weapon. And all of those darkness talents like are crazy good. Like trying to get max to those as quickly as possible is very important. Also, I'm on an 8 streak. I've beaten him 8 times in a row, 22 times total.
Okay.
I'm gonna do
Okay.
a little fishing.
What lurks in the waters of the surface?
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna start. I'm gonna spoil Cyberpunk. I'm just
Why?
people tweet.
I don't understand. I like literally. I'm like obviously part of it.
I'm
is-
joking.
I'm gloating a little bit, but I hope that some of this
No,
gleans some help.
this puts in a lot of stuff in perspective. Not in a negative sense. Just mostly of like what I best describe it as is like when you try to teach someone how to play FIFA. So much like brain power of someone learning to play that game is learning just simply how to like move and pass.
Yeah.
That they're not even thinking about like, yeah, but like once you get to the like late stage FIFA gameplay, you're thinking about like weight of passes, goals, and stuff, and it's just like, nah, homie, I just need to figure out how to get it to one side to the other, and it's mostly like I've been thinking too small and not thinking of like stacking things up.
Have you ever run across the
Yeah, you really shouldn't go for like, oh, this has the biggest number, that must be the most damage. You should like really think about what works.
I've never met him.
Yeah, so the two biggest antagonists for me in this game are Nyx and Achilles because they have so much dialogue tied to them to like sets off events, and you can only get one per run. So,
Indeed, I have.
so I'm constantly talking to them.
Ambrosia isn't only for the gods, you know.
But yeah, that's that was that. I can get basically because I didn't show this part like the pre-run stuff, so I guess I can finish it with this.
You're so much more than what.
I'm also kind of skipping through this because I'm recording and you're here, and I've also seen it before.
No
So
worries. I'm not even looking at it. I'm
That's
really
probably
just just vibing with my friend.
Because I smile. Smiling's just a little something that I like to do to deal with the day.
I will say, when you live with someone and they're gone for a weekend, your apartment feels much larger.
yeah, I can imagine. Hey, look away for like I don't know, 15 seconds.
All right, my eyes are closed and I'm looking away.
Fancied Thanatos, you know.
They are.
Oh, what? That bitch ain't supposed to be there.
What do you, I just told you look away. What do you mean?
Oh, I thought it was someone. I thought it was.
Did you think it was a joke? Like,
Nah, it's okay. I kind of knew because at one point, like,
if you look up enough stuff, it'll get spoiled.
it's fine. Like it's like I know that that's his mom. I don't know anything out after that or like what her story beats are.
Yeah, that's fine. The story beats are pretty good though. I think you even knowing the outcome, it's kind of like it's kind of like watching a Batman movie knowing Batman's not gonna fucking die. Like it's like no shit. Like or that there's a sequel. It's like obviously.
Batman's not gonna pick up a gun and shoot someone.
Yeah. I haven't watched that new one yet. I'm gonna try and watch it this week though.
You could do anything then, I suppose.
That's good to know.
Since I went to the theater, I honestly, I was really happy that I went to a theater to watch a movie because I went at like noon. But I'm becoming like a grumpy pants because I'm literally like people in theaters are no longer like I don't enjoy watching movies with other people, and also it annoyed me because that movie's long as fuck and I had to pee.
It's 3 hours.
And
Yeah.
that final hour, I was just I kept going to the bathroom because I knew like, okay, this could be a long ass movie. Let me just pee twice throughout the trailer. So I missed most of the trailers just because I kept on like trying to like get
You peed
everything out of my
twice in
system.
the trailers?
Yeah.
How does
yeah,
that happen? How many trailers were there?
I feel like the thing COVID did to me was it broke my. Like I don't hold my bladder as much anymore simply because I'm always home.
I am happy to tell
And
you that my hard gaming life has continued to keep my bladder at normal levels because sometimes I just don't want to get up.
Nah, I've always been like, let me just get up. I ain't wasting no. What do I gain from not getting up?
I think we'll go with.
But the problem is now that I can hardly sit through a 3-hour movie. Also, Juliana hates that every time I sit behind the car wheel, I have to go to the bathroom.
Whatever.
I'm a menace when it comes to the bathroom.
You're going through it. That's what it sounds like.
But also, another complaining thing, when I took Amtrak and Peter Pan, there was always a bathroom, so I was always like, why am I holding my pee? I'm just going to pee,
Oh my God.
pee on the train or bus. And now I have to drive, and she's just like, we can't stop again. And I'm like, shit, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you.
You are a menace.
Welcome to Carlos's bladder log.
I sent you the tweet being like, "Hey, what are the best P points in the movie?" But
No, but that's real.
But,
But like, I can't. Like, I'm going to a movie again tonight, so pray for my bladder again. But
hey, the gloves finally came up.
it's just really nice to like watch a movie on a big screen and like know that the color correction's right, so I'm not fiddling with my TV settings. Because do you remember that Game of Thrones episode where you just couldn't see shit?
Yeah, but that's not your TV. That's Game of Thrones. Again, we're dancing lightly here, Carlos. But that was that episode. It wasn't like
Oh yeah.
yeah.
But,
It's just your
every
whole
once in a
fucking
while-
life, Carlos. It's just like you were more involved in my company than I am. Like
I gotta come up with different examples.
I have to
realizing how much-
I have to keep being like, hey, maybe not.
It's also I forget exactly what's under the umbrella.
Oh, I don't. Trust me, I don't. But yeah, that's Hades.
Also, are you gonna bump up our Netflix to 4K?
No,
The viewers want to know.
I'm
The
like,
viewers
I'm
asked
thinking
me.
that I might just cancel Netflix.
Okay, you can do it in 2 weeks, and then it's fine.
Why in
I have
2
to finish
weeks?
one. I have to finish a show.
What show?
Drive to Survive, and well, actually, and you. I have to finish you.
I might just cancel them, and you can pick it up, and then I'll go on yours.
The thing is, that doesn't work for me.
I have my own Disney Plus and Hulu now, so like you're quickly
Yeah,
losing
why
ground
do
in
you have
the
to do that?
negotiations
Why?
here.
Why did you have to do that? You know?
For Disney Plus, it was a new WandaVision came out, and I was awake at like 3 a.m. and I was very invested in the show, and I couldn't get like it logged me out of my TV, and I couldn't like find your password. I was like, "Fuck, I'll just get my own," because it's one of those things where I should have gotten my own anyway. And Hulu, it was a similar thing where it was Hulu was different. I think it was I wanted my
Hulu
own
was my
recommendations.
sister's.
Yeah, that was what it was. I was like, I didn't want to keep going to your sister's. It felt weird. So
No, honestly, you could have made a profile on hers, and it wouldn't have been no thing. Honestly, it feels more like if, not that I know this from experience, but it's like when your girlfriend just mysteriously like stops leaving things at your place and has taken all the things that she left there beforehand, just a week before. You had no idea, like, oh hey, and she's just like, hey, I just need to wash this stuff, and you're like, oh no, but I washed it. And she's like, nah, I just want to, it's been collecting dust, and it's just. Nothing. I'm not drawing on any real life experiences. Don't worry about me.
are men okay? Are you okay? Carlos, I'm not breaking up with you. It's fine. I would tell you.
Good.
But yeah, that's anyway. That's Hades.
That's Hades.
Yeah, I don't know what to do with this video. It's a long one. I might just leave it as is.
I mean, yeah, I'd say what you could also do is like
I
now that Netflix has, I mean, YouTube has that chapter system. It would be probably good.
That's a good
to
idea.
put the
actually.
chapter.
I can timestamp it like a good boy. Cool.
I
Well, that's.
think we got another banger.
I think it's good. I don't know how much views it's gonna get because Hades is obviously not popping off right now. But I love the game a lot. I might just title it something like Hades is my favorite game of the decade with Carlos, and then just like I'm the greatest Hades player with Carlos, and then just like
with your face in the thumbnail, reacting shocked.
well, not shocked if I'm saying I'm the greatest player. It would just be. It'd be me with like flames around me, just like like Photoshop like Zachary's head thing on. Anyway, we'll figure it out. Hey, tell me in the comments if that's what I did for the thumbnail, and what you thought of the video. And if you made it to the end, rate Carlos out of 5. How out of 5 enjoy Carlos being in videos? 5 being you enjoy Carlos and want to see more of him. 1 being Nick, please never put Carlos in a video again.
You might also have to do one where you sit co-pilot and tell me how I'm playing wrong.
I would like to do a follow-up, and we switch it, and I follow or I watch you play. But that'd be harder to do because you don't have the setup that I do.
True. But yeah, it's something. I mean, we can think about that later when, like, next time in Massachusetts.
I guess so. All right.
All right.
Goodbye, YouTube.
Smell y'all.